All right, it's the 24th of April. Um, it's a Thursday. We've got about just under 30 minutes to the NY Open. We'll go to the charts in a second. Okay, let's start with the calendar. So today we've got unemployment claims. It's not an important news event, but it's at 8:30 a.m. EST. So we'll be waiting for until 8:30 a.m. EST before we take any setups, right? We're going to wait probably 8:30, even 8:45, right? Or even past that, because we're going to wait for the first 15-minute very likely going to wait for the first 15-minute candle to close before taking a setup. Okay, that's the plan. So there's plenty of time. There's over possibly an hour, about an hour for the prep work or the analysis. So there's a lot of time to talk through the charts before we begin to look for any setups today. All right, and then on Friday, tomorrow, there is no news, and so this would be considered the last week of the month, right? This current week that we are in is the last week of the month, and then next week is NFP, right? That's one that's an important news week. It's an important week that we that could bring in possible volume. And then the week after that is, I think, interest rates and FOMC, and the week after that is CPI, PPI, and retail sales. All right. So, okay, just a second. Okay, let's start with the daily. Right. So we closed below 3,300 yesterday. We're very bearish. Yesterday we were very bearish, and the previous day also. We closed below 3,300, but just above 3286, right? Or at 3286. So it's very likely we're going to continue to push down. We've gone past this demand level, this daily demand level, rally-based rally. We've closed below it. So we're very likely going to continue down, but this could be a pullback to grab liquidity before we continue down. Now, continuing down can happen today, or it can happen tomorrow, right? Let's take a look at the weekly candle. The weekly candle is rejecting, right? It's very likely that we close bearish because we're rejecting 3,500. That's too expensive for gold, so we're pushing down. We've already pushed down. The weekly candle has pushed down 2,300, almost 2,400 pips, right? Almost 200 for about $240 change in price. Um, Now we have these levels 3350. We have a new level here 3367. You can see the tap here, also a tap here today. So 3367 is a new level, an SR level, weekly SR level on the chart. You can make note of that. And we have these levels from at the beginning of the week, I think last week, I think at the beginning of this week. So we have these levels here. We got to keep an eye on these: 3367, 3350, and 3329 today, right? And possibly maybe look for sells from this area to come back down. Let's go to our trading chart. Okay, so before we proceed, let's do a recap of what happened yesterday. Okay. Okay. So 30-minute resistance had formed inside of pre-NY. Okay. We were looking for sells. Price closed bullish. I didn't take sells when price tapped back because there was a support formed and a tradable bull candle close. Okay. I didn't take sells here. I didn't take buys either because we're in supply, so it makes no sense to take any buys. But I didn't do anything, right? I wanted to see some sort of low time frame confirmation. So this 30-minute candle opened at 15:30 IC market server time. If you go down to the 15-minute time frame, 15:30 IC market server time, we see this candle, right? This candle closed back below. From supply, we tapped 3329 and closed back below, right? 3329. Soon as price started to come down and tried to break these lows, I took some sells and we dropped to these TP areas that I had given, 3276, and then, yeah, no, it was here. 3286, sorry, the TP level that I gave was 3286 and price dropped to that. So that was about 320, yeah, I think it took about 325, 300, about 328 pips on that trade, right? And then at the end of the stream, I said, don't look for buys, don't take any buys. We're very bearish, don't look for buys, okay? Look for a sell instead. And I very clearly said, wait for the 4-hour candle to close, right? So if you go to the 4-hour time frame, this was the candle closed when this one opened. That's 1700 hours IC market server time. Now let's go back to the 15-minute time frame. This is just a recap, right? I do this every day. The trade idea I gave, so that if you were on the streams and you stayed on the charts after the streams ended, then maybe you could have taken a trade, right? So the new candle opened at 1700 hours IC market server time. That was here. Yeah, this was this candle. I said wait for the candle to wait for the previous candle to close. This one closed, this one opened. I said wait for the pullback. That was number 2. I said wait for the pullback, and I said wait for 15-minute resistance to form because price is well away. It was about 400 pips away, I think, even more. Yeah, it was clearly over 600 pips away from the EMAs. So I said you don't need to wait for 30-minute resistance to form. You can wait for 15-minute resistance to form and a tradable 15-minute back candle to close and wait for the pullback, draw the fib and take the trade. That's exactly what happened here. 15-minute resistance formed. You draw the fib on the 2 recent high breaks. This one broke this high, this one broke this high. So draw the fib, and that was the trade that I took. 3293.64. Stop loss just there above that candle, maybe about 26, 27 pips. And we dropped, these are the TP levels, 3276 and 3270, right? 236 pips down to 3270 and about 180 pips almost to 3276. Okay, that was the trade idea that I gave and it worked out perfectly. Okay, so let's get rid of all of this and start the process again. Okay, right. Let's start here. Let's start with supply because that's where price is at, right? So we have a rally and a drop here. There is a base there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, I'm going to get rid of this, the liquidity candle for now. You can redraw it. We can look at that area. Now this is based off a 4-hour zone, but prices come deep in and we have another drop. So we're going to bring it at least to this, right? And then let's take a look at this area and see if we have 1-hour supply. Let's probably look at the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, so there is a zone there. There you go. That's the zone, right? So the 4-hour supply now, um, right? So that was the zone on the 4-hour time frame. Even on the 1-hour, there was a on the 4-hour time frame. This was the zone, a drop. I said there's an invisible candle there because the candle closed here and then it opened back here. That was a 400 pip drop. And then, so that's invisible back candle coming down. So there's a drop, base drop. That is the source, and prices come here, and we have a reaction. We have a supply zone that's formed here. On the 4-hour, there is a rally and a base. There's a rally and a drop. But on the 30-minute, you can clearly see the base. So there is a reaction here. There is a new supply zone here formed to this source. This is the reaction. This is the source. This is the reaction. But there is new supply here, right? So let's put the numbers there. Close 54.2. 54.2. 668. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So that's still for a supply. Now, has price crossed? Let's move this label across for the time being. So 475 pip zone. We've come, yeah, we've crossed the 50% mark. So price comes back here, it can go right through. Got to keep that in mind. Okay. I'm going to take off this label, right? Because we've crossed the 50% mark. That's a 470, let's say 470 pip zone, 475 pips, and 275. Yeah, so we've passed the 50% mark of that zone. So that is why I removed the label. Okay, these are good. These we drew, I think, yesterday. We're going to extend those to the right. Looks like we're pushing up today. That is why I say no matter what the daily tells you, you have to look at each time frame and the information it provides uh, to that time frame, right? So don't carry. Yes, you have to carry a certain idea of what's happening on the high time frame to the low time frames, but you don't session trade on an idea of what's happening on the daily, right? That's wrong. You got to look at, if you're a session trader, you got to look at what the low time frames are telling us. So mainly the 4-hour time frame, right? And even the 30-minute time frame. What are those time frames telling you to do? Okay, got a 1-hour supply there. These are all drawn yesterday. You want to have a look at it. You can watch the first, I think it was done yesterday or maybe the day before. I think yesterday probably. But if you watch the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the stream, that should be enough, right? That's when I do the analysis. Okay, just, yeah, I think it's good. I don't think yeah, we've covered 1,000 pips to the upside, so that's good. Okay, let's look at demand. Here we have an immediate drop and a rally. There is some sort of a base there. Let's start by just marking that area out. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, there is a base there. Very likely it could be taken out, but there is a base there. Yeah. So that's a drop, a base, and a rally, right? Because on the 4 hour we have a drop and a base. Sorry, we have a drop and a rally, immediate push up. We have 4 hour support form there, right? Just quickly save this. We have 4 hour support form there. So that's why I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame to find a zone there. So we have a drop, 3 base in candles, and a rally. Let's put the numbers there: 690, 467. Okay. Now further down, we have a zone here. That's obvious. There's a drop, 2 base in candles, and a rally. But we're going to have to take a look at this area on the 1 hour because we've crossed a weekly SR level. Whenever that happens, we have to go down to the lower time frame and take a closer look at that area. That's better, right? So that's a drop, base in candles, and a rally. Let's also look at the 30-minute. Yeah, that's good on the 30-minute as well. Going to stick to the 1 hour there. So this low 033 512 5. So that's 4 hour demand, and this would be 1 hour demand because it's clear on the 1 hour, right? There is 1 hour demand there. Okay. Let's clean up the chart a bit. Now, this one, we're going to extend this to the right because price hasn't gone through this zone yet. There's a high liquidity candle there. The zone is a 128 pip zone. We've come, yeah, I would keep the zone because the zone hasn't gone, and the candle also is a 110 pip candle. We've come about, yeah, we've come 50% of the way to it, exactly 50%, 55 pips. So we're going to keep the zone, but I'm going to just bring it down so we don't overlap this candle. So low is 60.33. And the high liquidity candle still stays. But I'm going to take this label off because it's no longer high liquidity zone. Because the zone, we've crossed the 50% mark, but the candle we haven't. And that's good. Yeah, I think we'll extend these also because the average daily range is 1,200 pips on gold. So price can push down or go up 1,000 pips. Just have to be prepared. This is like a roadmap. We know if one liquidity zone breaks, we know where it's going next. That's the reason. That's the whole purpose of these. So that covers about 950 pips to the downside, 1,000 pips to the upside. I think we're good. maybe this as well. These are all previous zones. The price hasn't tapped yet. Okay. Okay. Right. Now, let's quickly save this. Okay, so now we have a new zone here, right? Because we've adjusted it here. So there's a new 4-hour supply zone, a readjusted 4-hour supply zone, not a new zone, a readjusted 4-hour supply zone. A new demand zone here, 1-hour demand zone, and a new 4-hour demand zone here. So you have 3 zones that we need to look at to check if they're high liquidity zones or not. Okay, so let's start with demand because we're very close to it, or we're bouncing off it. Let's start there. Has it taken out anything to the left? No, it hasn't, right? It hasn't taken out anything to the left, because that's not a high liquidity zone. Price can go right through that zone, right? Let's look at this one below. Yes, this drop base rally has taken out supply here. There's a rally and all basin candles and a drop. So this is a high liquidity zone. Okay. Okay. Is this a high liquidity zone? It was. Price has come across the 50% mark. Hmm. But there is still a liquidity candle there. 313 pips. Yeah, we can. And we also have a weekly SR level running right through it. I would not label it a high liquidity zone, but I would still look for the liquidity candle there, because we haven't gone deep into the liquidity candle, right? So we're gonna take the label off, but we're going to keep the layer look for the high liquidity candle in there. Okay. Right. That's it. Those are the zones, right? Now we're going to look for the next step is to look for high liquidity candles inside these 3 zones, right? The rest are all covered. We already have high liquidity candles that we've found over the last couple of days. We're going to look at these zones. And we have plenty of time. We have about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes, about 35 minutes, at least 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, let's look at supply, because price seems to be coming to supply. It's reacted to supply today in the Asian session. It's grabbed liquidity from 3367. So let's take a look at this area. We're looking for the large bearish candle, right? The largest bearish candle would be this, or it would be the gap that as we had marked. Let's start with this. What's visible? 315 pips. Let's start with that. Okay. Yeah, we're going to keep this candle. Let's go to the 15-minute time frame. That's outside the zone. That's 262, 270, 262, 264. Yeah, we're going to keep the 30-minute candle there. Right? I'm going to keep it as a 30-minute candle. Hmm. No, I'm going to use the gap just like we did yesterday. I'm going to use the gap. Yeah. Prices come 264. It's a 404 pip. We'll come deep into it. We can come back. Yeah. I'm going to use that gap. Okay. So the close was 093. Open is 012. 093. Yeah, that's better. So it's the same liquidity candle that we had marked yesterday, right? The reason I'm doing that is I see in the London session, I see prices tapped here, right? We've tapped this. So that's the reason. Now maybe prices might come deeper. That's okay. This candle is about to close. We're forming 30-minute resistance. That's good to know. Good to see 30-minute resistance inside pre-NY, but we're going to wait for news. We are going to wait another 30 minutes, right? We're not going to do anything here. We're going to wait for news. Prices begin to range. You can see the EMAs are just above each other. Prices at the EMAs. We're beginning to flatline. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, you can see a range now. It's very clear. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles. This candle will close in 10 seconds. So for the last 9 hours, we've been ranging here, right? So whatever that we do, we're going to want to see 30-minute support or 30-minute resistance form, right? Not going to do anything until we see 30-minute support or 30-minute resistance form. All right, so that's the high liquidity candle there. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. Here, I don't see a liquidity candle here. We have this, it's 127 pips, maybe. Let's take a closer look at it on the 15-minute. Nah, no. We're going through this. There's no liquidity here. That looked like almost like a bullish engulfing candle, but when you look at the 15-minute, there is no bottom wick here, and that's just a, yeah, price has already come into it several times. You can't draw it on the 15-minute time frame. You have to draw it on the 30. That's a bullish engulfing candle. Price has tapped it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times already. So we are very likely going to go through that, right? So yeah, it's very ugly. We're ranging right now. I just don't like this. We've been ranging for what, 10 hours now? Almost 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. No, 9 hours. This is the 10th hour. All right. So no, I'm not going to mark a high liquidity candle here, right? It's because if price wants to grab liquidity, it's probably going to come to 3,300 and then push up. Let's take a look at this area, right? We're looking for the largest bull candle. That would be this. That's a 1 hour candle. That's a 350 pip candle. Let's start with that. Then go down time frames. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. 247. Go down to the 15. 175. Yeah, that's good. 175 it is. And this is well above the zone. So this is the candle. And prices tapped it beautifully. And the BR and the weekly SR level. 895, 150. Okay. Now price has gone through this, has gone up, gone through this. So, but it's still, it held here because of the weekly SR level, right? That's why I'm going to still keep this liquidity candle. Because even though it's gone through, it grabbed liquidity again from it, from the weekly SR level, and pushed all the way up, 800 plus pips up, right? Okay, that's where we are. This is the NY open. Let's just go to the one now. I'll keep it on the one now. Want to have a look at it. That's what it looks like. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes and we'll take a look at what price has done in the Asian and London sessions. All right. Okay, so you're saying 3329 is not on the chart. 3329 is here. 3367, 3329, 3286, 672986, 67. Oh yeah, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, 3329. Right? I think that's correct. 3367, 3367, 3329. Yeah, the reason 3329 is there because that's where exactly where the weekly candle closed, right? It closed just underneath it, and you can see the daily tap here, right? And also a close at it here, right? Because of these two candles. That's the reason for 3329. So 3329 and then 3286 below. 3329, 3286 below. That's a good spot, Philip. Thanks for that. Yeah, and now that makes sense why we're ranging. This makes perfect sense. Why for the last 9 hours we've been closing above, closing at, or closing below, closing above, closing at, staying above, because that's a very important level, right? That That just tells us how important 3329 is. All right. Okay, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Let's look at the market open. That's the market open right there. Massive push up, 228 pips. Wow. 15-minute candle. Crazy volume. Very bullish volume, right? This just tells you kind of the the market when the market opens with 220 or 230 pips with the first candle, it just tells you there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and we're still trying to push up, even though we've been bearish for 2 days. The market sentiment, right? That's technical analysis, pushing down, but the market sentiment tells you that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. We're trying to push back up. All right, so this is the market open. The open was at 3289. Okay, and we do have pullback here. Yeah. Okay. So in the London session, we've stayed inside the Asian range. Interesting. 792. 750. 288. 467. We're very much ranging, right? You can see how the EMAs are completely flatlining from this point onwards, even here, right? We can see from here onwards, after this big push up where it was below. So from this point onwards, right, from the morning, from today, from the morning, the entire day until now, we're ranging. This was just a spike up and then back in the range, and we're ranging. We're just going sideways. Probably waiting for news. Let's see. We have news in 20 minutes. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's take a closer look at what the market did. So we were bullish coming off the second half of the NY session yesterday. There was uh, there was 30-minute support form here. There was a liquidity candle that price tapped. You can see price tapped this liquidity candle that we had from yesterday. It was drawn here. It was drawn, I think, probably several days back, probably last week. Price tapped it. If you zoom in, I'll zoom in. There's 30-minute support form here. That's a tradable 30-minute bull candle. You can look for the M15, the previous two, this recent breaks after this candle closes. And then if you want to take buys, you could have put it and taken buys, and price went up. Just pushed straight up, almost 1,000 pips again. All right. Anyway, we were coming. The point is that we were bullish. Second half of NY session later on in the night, NY session evening, we were bullish, and the market opened here, right? So we continued that bullish volume and continued to push up. Let's go back to the 15-minute time frame. We tapped the EMAs. We were very bullish because we had tapped a liquidity candle. right? NY session yesterday, we tapped this liquidity candle. On the way up, we created another liquidity candle. So price came, tapped that, and that liquidity candle is where 3286 is. And then we had this massive push up. So that's a liquidity candle. We grabbed liquidity from the liquidity candle and from the weekly SR level 3286, and that's hence the massive push up, right? 780 pip push up. Okay, we pushed back into the EMAs, we swung down, we had a small swing low, that's the Asian low, pushed back a lot of bullish volume. We closed directly, we didn't even stop at the weekly SR, we closed above it, came, retested it, continued up deep into the liquidity candle that we had drawn yesterday, and we tapped 3367, right? We formed 30-minute resistance, we created the Asian high there. That's 30-minute resistance form, right? That's the Asian high, came straight down, closed below 3350, came back to 3329, right? Then we started to range. We just ranged, right? Closed above, closed below, closed above, closed below, stayed below. Came, we created the London low, closed above, just range, created the London high. So here's nothing. This is nothing, absolutely nothing. There is no information. When there is a range, nobody is winning, right? That it means that there is no information here. There are no signals. Is price going to go above? Price going to go below? There is nothing. There is no information here. That's all that this means. Because if you look at the 1 hour time frame, all you have is dojis. If you look at the 4 hour time frame, you have nothing. You have 4 hour support being created here, 4 hour resistance, 4 hour support. That's it. On the 1 hour, if you look, it's almost all of them are dojis, right? So there is no information. And on the 30 minutes, also dojis. So there is no information in this range, right? So we've created the London high, and now we've tapped the liquidity candle again. We formed 30-minute resistance. We tapped the liquidity candle twice in the London session, and now pre-NY, and we created 30-minute resistance. We could push down to the London low. That's a 230 pip drop. That's very possible. Let's take a look at this. We have a single, this one broke this high, this broke this high. Yeah, it can come down. Can come down. It's possible. We can come down. Yeah, but I'm going to wait for news. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to wait for news, right? News is in 15 minutes. Doesn't make sense in taking a trade now because in news you can have a spike up or a spike down. We don't know. That's the whole point of news. We don't know what's going to happen, right? So it just does not make any sense to take a trade just before a news event, even though it's not an important news event. If it's a red folder and if it's 30 minutes after the NY open, it makes sense to just wait for it. But the point is, we've tapped the London. We've ranged. We've tapped the liquidity candle in the London session and in pre-NY, and we formed 30-minute resistance now, right? And that's a 30-minute tradable back handle close. The problem is that we have 3329 in the way. That's the issue. That's the issue, that we have 3329 in the way. So if I'm taking sells, I would like to take sells from up here, right? Not down here, but at least up here to have like 100 pip drop at least. I can take partial positions off at 3329. And then you can bring your stops to break even and let it run if it needs to. Okay, that's the idea. 394632. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not doing anything now. I'll be comfortable here. If you come up here, yeah, then we have a 120, 130 pip drop, because down here, yeah, we can, but I'm going to wait for news. And if you do take sells, how you manage risk on this is here. This 15-minute resistance. You can see the 15-minute resistance here, formed here, tapped here, and here, right? Pretty straightforward. 3342. If price breaks 3342 after you're in sells, then you close partial positions. If you close above 3342, you close everything, right? 3342. But we're going to wait for news. We're not going to do anything until then, right? And if the sells work, then partial TP is at 3329, and then bring your stops to break even and let it run. If it runs through this, we can come straight down to the London low, which is 3315, Asian low 3308, and 3300. But wait. Yeah, this is the issue. 3329 is the issue. You can see it caused problems for almost 10 hours. So on the way down, we're going to get a reaction there. You'll want to see a 30-minute candle close below these wicks. So basically below 3324.5. You want to see a 30-minute candle close below 3329, right? Below 3329. A 30-minute candle close below this will push price right through it to this 125 pips, and then another one, and then the Asian low, and then possibly to 3,300. You want a 30-minute candle close below 3329. Yeah, we're just gonna wait. You're not gonna do anything because even if you do take a sales, price can drop easily here, and that you can make 80, 90 pips. But what if news comes out and price just spikes up? What's going to happen, right? You, then that's a bad entry. So it just makes sense to wait another 10 minutes. Just wait. Let let the news, let the data come out. See what happens. Maybe after the first 5-minute candle closes, because we know the setup. We have 30-minute resistance already. We have a touch, two touches of the liquidity candle. We are rejecting. We've rejected the London high. We've formed 30-minute resistance. So we can come down least at least to 3329 and then to the London low, right? But we also can have a spike up to grab liquidity. As I said, price can come into a liquidity candle as many times as it needs to grab liquidity, right? And inside this liquidity candle are more liquidity levels. It's 3367 and 3350. That's a weekly SR level and that's a BRN. So it can come deeper into this to grab liquidity. So when there is news, it just makes sense to wait. But the setup is there, the structure is there for us to take the sells. What numbers are they expecting? Expecting good numbers, high bad numbers. Expecting bad numbers really doesn't matter. This news event, the numbers really don't mean anything because this is not an important news event. The only thing important that overshadows every news event right now are the tariffs, the uncertainty in the markets. That's it. None of these news events matter. They'll only bring in volume to what the high time frame is already doing. That'll bring volume to push price to either to grab liquidity to go in the direction, or it'll just continue. It'll bring volume to continue that direction. Yeah, I'd like to see a tap here. Let's put this down, this level down. What number did I say here? 3342. Hmm. 3342 is where you would want to manage risk, right? 3342. It's not visible, right? Okay. And the reason for that is if you look back in the past, you can see how important that level was. Price stayed below, closed above, stayed above, closed above, stayed below, this closed above, closed below, stayed below, closed below, this closed up above, stayed above, closed back below, came, almost tapped it, same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. 3342, that's your level to manage risk, right? Even though the safe stop loss is at the liquidity candle high, obviously you're not going to take a 400 pip stop loss. That is where you're going to manage risk at 3342. So if it breaks the high, you close. If you take sells and price breaks 3342, you close partial positions. If the 15-minute candle closes above it, you close everything. I hope that's clear. Okay, 5 minutes more. Three minutes more. Previous 15-minute candle doji. This one's a doji. 30-minute we have a back handle, and that's a 30-minute tradable back handle. But on the 15-minute we have a doji. Yeah, Just wait. Very likely this is also going to close a doji. Hmm. If price comes and taps this, I'm taking a sell at 3342. Okay, I'm taking a sell. In fact, let me just place a pending order right here. Yeah, 3342. I placed a pending order right there. If you tap it, drop. If you continue up, I'll close the trade, but that's where the pending order is, 3342. And 3329 is, yeah, 130 pips. Yeah, this candle is closing a doji as well. 15-minute support is forming there. That's not really important. That's a very minor support. That's not too important, but we are forming some sort of support there. But that's a doji. All these three candles are dojis. All the only information that we have is this 15-minute candle. We've created 15-minute resistance, and that's a 15-minute bear candle close. This candle has broken this side, this has broken this side, and this candle has tapped the liquidity candle. This is closing a doji, and we've formed 30-minute resistance. That's all the information that we have. We're anticipating sells to come down to 3329 and then lower here to the London low and the Asian low. What are the numbers? Nothing. As expected. As expected. Expecting bad numbers, numbers are bad. And that's just dojis. We have to wait. Let's wait for the 15-minute. We're going to wait for this 15-minute candle to close. I'm going to do anything. I still got a pending order there. I'm going to leave that pending order. That's at 3342, right? Leave that pending order. But we're going to wait for this 15-minute candle to close because all these past three candles offer no information, right? So let's wait for this one to close. coming up. You can take a sell here. Right? You can take a sell here. We're coming up though. But you can take a sell here. I have taken a sell here. On my other account, I've taken a sell. You can take a sell here. When here, you can take a sell. Yeah, I've taken sells. I've taken sells here. Keep in mind 3342. That's where the pending order is. But I've taken sells just under here. But if you continue to push up, then I'm going to manage risk. If you push above 3344, I'm going to manage risk. But I've taken sells already. Anticipating 3329 and then lower. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, so that's triggered as well. The pending order is triggered. Could come deeper. Can come deeper here. Come back another. Go back another 20, 30 pips. Pushing up. I think I'm going to close this trade. I don't like the fact that we're pushing up so hard. Let's see. If you break the high, then I'm going to close. If you break this high, 3344. 3344. 3344 is where I'll get out. 19 pips. We tap the London high again. It needs to reject this area. It needs to reject it, close a 15-minute back candle needs to close below for price to continue down. Still have about 7 minutes for the candle to close, 6 minutes. Pushing up, trying to push up. Yeah, we're pushing up, coming up. Yep. Ooh, tapped. Ooh. Yeah, I close the trade. Wait for the 15-minute candle to close. Just wait for the 15-minute candle to close. Yeah, just wait for the 15-minute candle to close. We broke the high, I closed the trade. That's it. Now we're going to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. 4 minutes more. Yeah, just wait. This could be a bottom wick for price to continue higher. So that was about 19 pips, I think. Less than 19? Yeah, I think I closed just about 19 pips. It was 16 pips, in fact. I got out 16 pips. Brilliant. Brilliant risk management. Now we just need confirmation. 15-minute back candle closes below. You draw the fib again and then look for a pullback and take the trade, because 30-minute resistance is already confirmed. We just need confirmation because this didn't work. Price broke above the high, broke above 3343.94. You want to see confirmation. Very similar to yesterday. You want to see another 15-minute candle close, right? That's exactly what happened yesterday. Here, we had a candle close above. 30-minute support was formed. So we needed to see a lower time frame confirmation. 15-minute candle close, I took a trade here. Came down 500 pips. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's wait for the 5-minute candle to close. Closing bearish. Strong bearish. Yep, they're coming down. Coming down. You can wait for the 15-minute candle to close. Better. Better wait for the 15-minute candle to close. Yeah, we're coming down now. That's a massive 5-minute back candle. 70 pips. That's bearish direction. Selling volume from London high, but you can wait. Okay, 15-minute candle has closed. It's not a back candle. It's risky. Price can push back up. It's risky. It's risky. It's risky. There's no top wick on this candle. Yeah, it's risky. If this candle has closed a bear candle, perfect. Once price breaks the low, take a trade. But we closed a bull candle, a weak bull candle. No, no. Maybe if you break the low, you can take a trade and manage it at 3342. If we break the low, 3336. If you break this low, maybe, but it's risky because we don't have a bear candle. That 5-minute candle is good, but it's not enough. You want to see it on the 15. We should have closed up. Gotta wait. It's better to wait. Yeah, we're pushing up. This is the problem. When a bull candle closes, we're pushing back up. Two minutes for the candle to close. Let's see how the 5-minute candle closes here. If it closes a strong bull candle, that means we're pushing back up. This is a bottom wick for price to go up, and fill the 15-minute wick. Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, yeah, pushing back up. Wait for a 15-minute back candle to close. Just wait. It's another 10 minutes. Just wait. We need to see a 15-minute back candle close for price to continue down. You can take a trade when the low breaks, but that is a bit risky because there is no confirmation that price is pushing down. If you take a trade here when price breaks 336, remember to manage risk at 3342. 465, 601. 5-minute closed weak. Weak bullish. 30-minute candle is going to close. Looks like it's going to close bullish. Push up. Yeah, just wait. They're coming back to 3342. No top wick. 3342. Coming up there again. See, we didn't break the low. We didn't break the 15-minute low. We're pushing up. 7 minutes for the candle to close. Coming back to 3342. 3342 is an important area. We've tapped it now several times. You want to see a 15-minute back candle close for the cells to work. 5 minutes more for the 30-minute candle to close. We're closing another doji, or we're going to close strong bull candle is the question. Or we're going to push back down and close the doji. Yes, nothing yet. Yeah, this news event brought nothing. We're still in that range. This is getting close to 10 hours. 10 hours, we're stuck in this range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Candle is going to close in 5 minutes. 10 hours. Five minutes more. This 5-minute candle will decide if the candle is going to close a doji or going to close a strong bullish. If we come back down here and close here, then we're closing a 30-minute doji. Then we have to continue to wait. If we close up here, then we're going to pull back, create a bottom wick, and continue higher. So wait for the 30-minute candle to close. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just wait for the 30-minute candle to close. Still 3 minutes more. So this is what it's looking like. It's pushing back up to 3342.5. 3342, then 3342.5. That's your sniper entry, 3342.5. Trying to get back up there. If we go up there, that means we're very likely heading higher because that means the 30-minute candle is going to close strong bullish and we could be pushing up. So you have to wait. You can't do anything. You can't take buys here because that's a liquidity candle and that's supply. You just have to be patient and wait for a 15-minute bear candle to close. It's as straightforward as that. 2 minutes. A minute and a half. Just wait. Because if this closes a doji, we're likely going to push back up to create a top wick before we push down. If you break the low, as I said, you can't take a trade. You just have to manage risk here at 3342. Keep that in mind. You can't take a trade here once you break this low because this is a weak bull candle. It's a lot of top wick, weak bull candle. If you break the low, you can take a trade to come down here. That's about a up to here, about an 86 pip move, 86 to 90 pip move. You break the low, you can take a trade. This is where you manage risk. Keep that in mind. If you break the low, I'm taking a trade. I'll probably wait for a bit of a pullback and then take a trade once we break the low. It should come to 3328 if we break the low. Here we go. Yeah, we broke the low. I'm taking a trade. There we go. 3328 coming down. I took a trade there. 3328. And then the London low. 3320. These are my trades. Yeah, coming to 3328, we should get there. There we go. 3329 or 3328, wherever, whatever you feel comfortable. If you're taking the sells, you can take partials. then 3320 and 3315. It's just a range. We're trading. You got to remember that we're trading in a range, right? That this is the 10th hour that we're in this range. We're trading in a tight range. Top, and that's the bottom of the range. 3329 is the bottom of the range, and this area is the top of the range. Right? It's a tight range. So keep that in mind. So be conservative with your partial TP levels. There's a difference. You got to be able to identify a difference when you're trading with the trend, in a huge trend, and we're trading in a tight range like this. Yeah, this is probably slowing down for NYSE Open. Yeah, we're struggling here. Struggling, trying to push back up. We tapped 3330, 30-minute support. We tapped it, trying to push back up. That's because this is a range. That's the reason. There's no clean candles to the left. They're coming back up now. Yeah, coming back up. You can bring your stop loss above this M15 high. That's what you can do. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing my stop loss above this M15 high. I'm waiting for 3328. That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, still nothing. Let's see if we can push back here. I mean, it's another 40, 50 pips. Should come down. 3328. Yeah, coming down now. We tapped 3336 again. We're coming down. Yeah, it should come down now. Here we go. Okay, close partial positions at 3329. Waiting for, I'll close a few more at maybe 3327. Yeah. Now bring my stops to break even. Yeah. Now let it run to 3320. And 3315. And if it has legs, then 3308. Yeah. 33. If you didn't take partial position, you can take it off at 3327. 3328 doesn't matter. It's anywhere between this 3RR and 3RR plus level is good. Anywhere in that vicinity is good. And then 3320, 3315, and then what is the next one? If there is volume, I don't know whether there's going to be that much volume, but maybe there is, I don't know. 3308. Yeah. Should tap 3327 pretty comfortably. I hope the trade idea made sense. I hope you took the trade like I did. Um, if anything wasn't clear, let me know in the chat so I can clearly explain it again. But I did explain it several times why we were looking for sells. Absolutely no way we were looking for buys because price is in supply and at a liquidity candle, right? So we were only looking for sells. And the reason we look for sells, we already shared, and we've come to 3329. Now that's a decision area. A candle, I said exactly what needs to happen. A 30-minute candle needs to close below. We have 13 minutes more. A 30-minute candle needs to close below this. Why 30 minutes and not 15 minutes? Very simple, because a single 30-minute candle wasn't able to close below it, right? Look at that. Stayed above, stayed above. All the 30-minute candles stayed above here. So if we close at it or below it, then we are pushing down. Otherwise, we're not. Otherwise, if we close somewhere here, that means we're going to go back up to create a top wick. Some of the positions that I'd taken up here at 3342, I didn't close them, not all of them. I closed most of it when we broke this high, about 60% of them, but I kept some of them open. Price rejected. The idea was solid. We shared the idea. So that was 29 pip stop loss. Yeah. Took partials here. When we tap 3328, we're coming to 3327 now. Next here, and then further down here, if there is volume. Should be coming down to the London low. That's the whole idea. That was the whole idea. The session idea was that's the reason we do the Asian highs, Asian lows, London highs, London lows. There we go. Tap 3328. Stops at break even. If it goes back and stops me out, no problem. I've got no issues with that. I don't trail stops. I don't like trailing. 3327. Yeah, that was my next area. I took some of 3329 and then 3327. I took, I think, one or two positions off. Now the rest, I've got about what, 4 positions left. I'm leaving them for these three areas. If we come down, stops at break even. I don't trail stops. I just the most I do is I take partial positions off and then I bring my stops to break even. That's the whole idea of partial positions. Trailing stops, I personally I don't like it. It works for some traders and that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with trailing stops. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's a good thing. I just personally don't like it. I like taking partial positions and then bringing stops to break even and leaving it. If it runs, then I have a runner. If it doesn't, pulls back up and gets me out, then I've not lost anything. Should come here 3320 and then 3315. 3316 maybe. Yeah. What was this? London? Yeah, we should come down here 3316. Yeah, so we push down. We tap this area, tap 3367, pushing down from 3350. Hmm. But the NY session trade was below 3350. That's fine. London session, we tap 3350. Close below this, we should come to 3300. That's, yeah, we should come to 3300. Depends. Depends. Might not. Might not. Depends on how much volume there is today. If we've already, the candle is already 800 pip candle. So yeah, it's almost 800 pip candle already. Depends on how much volume is left. The issue is this range, as I said. This is the market condition is right now, the current last 10 hours, we're ranging. That's the issue. This is a trending market. Going up, clean up. This is clean coming down, going up. But this is we're ranging. This is the top of the range and this is the bottom of the range. We took a trade at the top of the range. Pretty tight trade with like a 20 pip stop loss. It's not bad at all. Yeah, I took it somewhere here. Yeah. See, we're trying to push back up from 3329 because that's the bottom of the range. That's the top of the range and this is the bottom of the range. A 30-minute candle needs to close below. We got 6 minutes more. We got to wait for the candle to close. If the candle closes well above, then we're going to push back up. This candle has no top wick. We're going to come back up. Right? We're going to come back up. If we close above like this, if we close like this, then we're coming all the way up here. Yeah, we're pushing up. 5 minutes. Yeah. Let's see how the 5 minute candle closes. It needs to close. If it closes a strong bull candle like this, then we're going to come grab liquidity and go all the way up and take out that 30-minute high, this high here. There is no top wick on this candle. And we don't know how deep it's going to go in after that. As I said, this is a range. We traded a range today, right? About a 160 pip range. This was the top and this was the bottom of the range. Just under 3329 was the bottom of the range. Okay, so it's coming to the end of the stream. I'm going to be here for 5 minutes more. Um, I'm not going to give out a trade idea. I mean, if you want to look for buys, down here, not here, down here. Wait for 30-minute support to form at one of these liquidity levels, 3300 or the liquidity candle or 3286. 30-minute support to form, just like it did yesterday. The 30-minute support form, and then take the buys to go up. Here, it's too dicey to take a buy here because you got supply you got a liquidity candle just here. So this is better. If it comes down, then you have a clean range up. Don't take buys up here. Even though buys might work from here, don't take them. There's a very little space to move. You got a liquidity candle there. So buys down here for sells. You can't take sells now. The move has already happened. You got to wait for this zone to break. Once the zone breaks, then wait for the pullback. 30-minute resistance, not 15-minute. 30-minute resistance today because we are ranging. Yesterday, we're at the EMAs. Yesterday we won. We were 500 pips, 600 pips away from the EMAs. Today, we're at the EMAs. So wait for 30-minute resistance to form, a 30-minute tradable bear candle to close. Stop loss will go above the 30-minute candle high that form resistance. Take the sells, wait for a bit of a pullback, take the sells to come down, right? But wait for 30-minute resistance to form, not 15-minute resistance, because we're ranging. Been ranging for 10 hours now. This is the 10th hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11th hour. This is the 11th hour. 10 hours. This is the 11th hour. We're ranging. I'm going to keep these trades. Not going to manage them because they are at stops at break even. It doesn't matter if the stops get hit. I don't lose anything. I'm going to keep these TP levels in case volume comes in for NYSC and price pushes down. Good. If it doesn't and price pushes back up to the top of the range and stops me out, that's fine too. Yeah, that's it. I'll be here for another. Wait for the candle to close. We are rejecting the area. We're closing. Seems like we're going to close above, well above. 5-minute candle is probably closed bullish. Yeah, we're pushing up. That's a strong bull candle. 70 pips. We're trying to push back up. Probably create come down for a bottom wick and then push back up. This 30-minute candle has no high. That's the problem. We broke the low, and so we possibly can come back to um, this area right here, somewhere between somewhere between 3336 and 3340. We You can come somewhere in between that, because there is now we have a drop, 4 base-in candles, and a drop, 2 candles pushing down. Drop, base, drop on the 15-minute. On the 30-minute also we have a rally, 3 base-in candles, and likely a drop. We're going to close in 50 seconds. So that'll be a rally-based drop. So we can push back up here, maybe somewhere here, deeper, and maybe then wait for 15-minute resistance to form again, just like we did. 15-minute resistance, and then look for sells to come down again, right? Better yet, 30-minute resistance. 30-minute resistance is good because now that, yeah, we formed 30-minute resistance. So you can take, we've already formed 30-minute resistance here. So you can take a 15-minute resistance. If 15-minute resistance is formed, you can take a trade to come down because 30-minute resistance is already formed. It's tapped the liquidity candle again. It's tapped, this is a new tap, and 30-minute resistance forms. So if price pulls back, you can wait for a 15-minute tradable back candle to close and take the sells to come down. We closed above, so we are pushing up. All right, that'll be the end of the stream. I hope you got those sells and you took partial positions at 3328 or 3327. And then just bring your stops to break even and hold it. Or you can, this is where your stops would be, above this high, 41.53. If you don't want to bring it to break even, that's where it should be, 41.53. Just above that, maybe a couple of pips above that, right? The M15 candle high that tapped the liquidity level candle and formed resistance and closed below this. That's the candle high that you want to have your stops at. All right. All right. See you guys tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. We'll do our prep work and then see if you have trades. Tomorrow is a Friday. It's also the last day of, it's the last trading week. This is the last trading week. So I would consider it the last trading day of the month, though it's not. It is because next week is NFP. This would be the last trading day of the month. And so we're not going to force any trades. Just see if you have a clean setup. We'll take it. If not, we won't. But I'll be back. I'll be here 7:30 a.m. EST to do the analysis, prep work and analysis. We're pushing down, probably create a bottom. We can continue up. Let's see. All right. Don't take buys. Don't take buys here. Please do not look for buys here, right? If you try to take buys, you got this. You have 3329 in front of you. So this is where you want to take buys. You can take sells up here in this area if 15-minute resistance forms. Pushing down now. All right. See you guys tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. Take care. Don't overtrade. Don't over risk. See you tomorrow.